Hello, I'm Christine, and today we'll talk about one of my favorite things,
time travel,
and why I was so obsessed with it. Time travel is something we see in movies, books, TV, and when it's done right, it's the best. And I'm so excited to discuss it, and today I have the perfect excuse to. Today I'm being sponsored by the Blowback Trilogy. These are the first two books in the Blowback Trilogy by Brian Mell. The first is Blowback 07, and the second came out in September, Blowback 63. This trilogy is about two twins. They find this ancient instrument, and when they fiddle around with the instrument, people get blown back in time. And one of the twins uses it, and his athlete friend just gets blown back to 1907. And then they're like, crap, how do we get him out of 1907? Through this, they discover that their mother is actually stuck back in time. It's all about the journey to rescue her. The series is supposed to be like a really fun blend of genres. They say it's perfect for people who are fans of football. It sounds like a really fast-paced, exciting read. So if that interests you at all, definitely check them out. Okay, let's get down to business. So when you think time travel in pop culture, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Back to the Future. You've all seen it, hopefully. You go watch Back to the, if you haven't watched Back to the Future, like, what are you doing? The Back to the Future is like a prime example of time travel plot done so right. It's got everything you want in a story. It's got great, rich, lovable characters, an exciting plot, comedy, family, and traveling through time. And in that world, time is not a circle, it's a line. That's a very distinct difference between all different time travel stories. Sometimes what happened. Like, time is a circle, and there's no change in it. You've got things like Outlander, right? And I have not finished this series, obviously, but it seems to me that in Outlander, time is a circle as well. So what happened has happened, and no matter what you do to try to change it, it's not going to change. But as we see in Back to the Future, if Marty McFly makes a mistake, it butterfly affects and changes his future. Things are different. Even when it seems like time is a circle, in a time travel plot, we don't know for sure. Maybe we should start with a question like, why are we so obsessed with time travel? For me, it's because like, it seems like something we should be able to do, right? It seems like kind of plausible because time, travel, we know that with space and time, like, you know, when people are out in space and like stuff takes time. You know, you saw Interstellar! We understand the concept of time and space, even if I can't verbalize it right now. And we feel like we should be able to bend it. We want to be able to rewind and edit our lives. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy to be able to go back and witness history with your own eyes. So we want to believe that it could happen. And when people in books and stories and TV get to do it, like, we need to live vicariously through them. So Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban has some time travel going on in it. One of the great plot holes of Harry Potter is, why didn't someone use a time turner to go back and stop the events that led to you-know-who's rise to power, right? That's what we explore in different parodies and stuff. J.K. Rowling was like, crap, time turners are gonna create plot holes in my book. We need to have them all destroyed by accident. The Department of Mysteries. It's still something that kind of irks me in the world of Harry Potter because there is so much that could be changed with a time turner. It works in Prisoner of Azkaban. It's like a mysterious thing that we never delve into again. But like, it creates plot holes, and that's what time travel can do if you let it linger in any storyline. If it's there to be accessed, the conflict that happens doesn't matter because you can go back and switch it. There has to be consequences. Joe sets it up like you can't let your past self see your real self because that can cause a wizard to go insane and blah, 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 blah. She murders time travel really fast. And then we've got something like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, where like time travel rises from the dead, and it sounds like fan fiction because, again, it creates too many plot holes for what we know and love. I think time travel tends to work really well in films as opposed to TV shows because films have a beginning and an end within like a 2-hour time period, and we're not going to delve so far into these characters' lives, into their stories, that there's going to be other places where we're going to be like, oh well, if you could use time travel, then like this doesn't matter anyway. But if we examine something like Heroes. Do you remember Heroes? Did you watch it? It was my favorite show back in the day. It started in 2006. The first season, the tagline was, "Say the cheerleader." save the world. And it was because Hiro Nakamura from the future, in the first or second episode, told Peter Pedrelli, save the cheerleader, save the world. And that whole season, like, there was this whole air of mystery, like, what, we have to save the cheerleader, we have to save the world. While that came full circle, season 1, season 2, we had another time travel plot going on, and I think that ultimately led to the downfall of the show. Well, I mean, the writer's strike very much contributed. The writer's strike of 2007 very much contributed to the downfall of Heroes, but the time travel plot really threw a wrench in things. It made it much harder to wrap it up fast, and it made plot holes. And then in season 3, it was like, if we can time travel, then why does any of this happen ever? You know? It's tricky. It's tricky with a show, because you're there for a long time. You're thinking long term. Once you step into time travel on a TV show, like, you can't step back out. Heroes dipped a foot in it in season 1, and then they were up to their knees in it in the beginning of season 2. And then by the end of season 2, they were drowning it. Like, the time travel was drowning them. You couldn't write your way out. I wrote my way out. Passenger has a really interesting take on time travel. In Passenger, time feels like a line again. If you go back and change something, it can alter everything forever. But in Passenger, there's like families of time travelers. So there's a certain gene that allows you to time travel, and it's only in these 4 different families, so it limits you. And here, I mean, usually there's a limit on time travel. Like, in Back to the Future, you gotta have the car, and you gotta have the ingredients to feed the car. In Heroes, one person had the ability to time travel, but like other people had the ability to use other people's abilities, and so then those people had the ability to time travel, and some people had the ability to take people's abilities, so that person had to have the ability to time travel. Like, you never know where you could go with that, and there could always be a person with an ability like yours. Passenger, there's the families. And when you travel, you have to go through like a portal thingy. Like, you can't just time travel whenever you want. You have to be able to find a portal, and that portal takes you like a certain place in time. And you can't go through the portal if you're already in that time period. Like, you can only jump to places where you have not been before. Those are really interesting rules and restrictions. And you're jumping to the exact day that you're on right now in that time period. It's like a portal to the year. So like, if the year is 1903, if today's October 10th, you're gonna jump back to October 10th in 1903. I think that's how it works in Outlander. Like, you jump to the same time 200 years back, which is interesting. I like that. I like that rule. Sometimes TV shows try it, like in Lost. I thought it was amazing. Like, I thought that was my everything. Like, the constant, oh god, it's so good. In Heroes, they made too many rules, and then since you knew the rules so hardcore, you know when there's a plot hole. With Lost, what they did, they were pretty slick about it. Like, there were just enough rules that it felt real, but there weren't enough for you to pinpoint and be like, no, that wouldn't happen. And that's the line. With Teen Wolf, there are no rules ever. And that's why I never believe anything. I'm just like, like, they do this all the time, so I'm used to it, but like, okay. There's 2 extremes there. Like, there's Heroes, there's Teen Wolf, and then like Lost for me found that sweet spot with the time travel on TV. Then we've got like super fun time travel films like 13 Going on 30 that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's more about like the journey than the actual time travel. Can you ever resist a 13 Going on 30 rewatch? Can you? 17 again? The favorite. 13 Going on 30, she wishes to be 30, 40, and vibing when she's 13, and she wakes up 30, but her mind's still a 13-year-old. 17 again, Chandler Bing wants to go back to his high school days, and he ends up 17 again, but in his current life. So he changes, not the world, which is interesting. 13 and Going on 30, like, she's the only one who time travels, but like, her mind just jumps to where her mind is when she's 30, and you know, their consciousness just time travels, not their physical being. Interstellar is a film that has some time travel stuff going on because of like the space travel, you know? That is a film that I loved up until the very end, and I really wanted to like really be with it and be like, yeah, I love that way that panned out. I think it was just that everything else in the film seemed so scientific, and then the juxtaposition with this ending didn't work for me. Like in Heroes, I know everything is kind of magical because yes, it's science, like their DNA lets them do this stuff, but at the same time, there's this air of like magic and mystery, and I'm ready for that. But in Interstellar, everything was so grounded and felt so real and based in science, and then there was this kind of mystical end that is science, but it was so weird science, space science, that it felt mystical. And I think that's why it didn't exactly click in my mind as like, yes! It clicked as like, Oh, another movie that I think did time travel really well is About Time. And I think About Time got mixed reviews. Like, some people loved it and some people thought that it didn't work. I loved it though. It was just this one family, and the men in the family can time travel. They could close their eyes and think of a moment they want to go back to in their life, only in their lifespan, and go back to it. I had so much fun with it, and it was also really sentimental because there's certain points that you can't go back. It's great. I think a key thing about having time travel in a plot is that it can't be the lead character in your story. That's ultimately where we went wrong with this. The lead character is time travel. It really is. It's the driving force of everything that happens. Another big thank you to the Blowback Trilogy by Brian Mell for sponsoring this video. This is book 1, this is book 2. Links are in the description if you want to check those out. I'd love to hear your time travel thoughts. What's your favorite piece with time travel? I'm gonna say Lost. Well, Back to the Future is fantastic, obviously. I feel like I don't want to choose that anyway, because everyone chooses that. You know what? For movies, I'm gonna go with 17 again. For books, I'm gonna go with, I want to say Outlander. And I've only like half finished book 1, but I've watched all of the TV series that's happened so far, and I absolutely love it. And then for TV, Lost. So there we go. I'd love to hear your favorites. I'm Christine. I make videos every Tuesday. I'm on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow me there and find out when I post new videos at XTINEMAY, Xteenmay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.